Next up, Bill Hartley. That's some Bill Hartley fans. I know it was announced that Bill Hartley was getting into the Hall of Fame. Some people went, who the hell is Bill Hartley? But if you're around Sebastian Inlet, there's nobody that surfs it better than Bill Hartley. Big H. Started surfing in 1970 at Watson Avenue and in the Atlantic. His first surfboard was a Sean Thompson model, single fin, shaped by Dickie Munson. Now, Bill surfed single fins because he was a fan of Shane Horan and he loved his laser zap design theories. Join that up with the incredible genius of Greg Lohr, and you have a combo that changed shaping and shapes being ridden, and here's the story. I was in Australia in 1986 announcing the coldwater class, or not the coldwater class, the Margaret River Thriller, and I met Greg Weber, one of Australia's premium shapers. And I was talking to Greg, and he heard I was from Florida, and he says, hey, do you know a guy named Bill Hartley? And I kind of looked, and I went, yeah, I surf with him all the time. And he says, that guy is one of the greatest surfers I've ever seen. Bill Hartley from Sebastian Inlet. So I asked Bill to tell me what his connection was with Greg Weber, and here's the story. He was traveling with Mike Notary. They're driving down the road, and they wanted to go to Angary, and a semi blew past him and blew the surfboards off the top of their roof. Now, he was surfing single fins. This is 85, single fins. Broke the fins off the board. Mike Notary, the fin genius, working at NASA, and it was all about fins, says, I know there's a factory in Yamba. Let's go over there. Well, he goes to the factory, and lo and behold, that's the factory of Greg Weber and Rodney Dahlberg, two of the greatest shapers today in Australia. There wasn't any single fins. They couldn't glass the single fins back on. They turned his boards into thrusters. Now these were heavily concave bottoms, concave throughout, Greg Lohr designs. Nobody in Australia, Greg Weber's looking at these things, scratching his head. Hartley's riding very narrow boards, around 18 inches. And they put 3 fins on, and they worked. When I met Greg Weber, he lent me a board that was Greg Day's. I went to go surfing at Injinuk Car Park on Western Australia, and it was a full concave bottom. Greg Lohr set that in motion, and that changed surfboard bottom contour design. Bill Hartley getting his fins ripped off in his way to Angary. And that's a true story. It's really a fact, because Greg Lohr, East Coast, one of our Hall of Famers, he was so far advanced, nobody had ever been shaping concave bottoms. Bill Hartley rips. Ladies and gentlemen, Bill Hartley.
I want to say I'm probably the least deserving person ever inducted into this Hall of Fame, and especially if we're looking at contest results, I was probably the worst contest surfer ever to walk the planet. But even to be mentioned in the same light as Bobby Owens, Damian Hobgood, I mean, these are two of the greatest guys I've ever seen to ride a board in my life. Bobby, I just want to say I had your pictures up on my walls when I was young. His style, which I think is something that the surfing world has started to move away from a little bit, but Bobby's style and grace I will always hold as revered as some of the best ever in the world, and just an honor to be on the same stage with you guys. I'd also like to thank everybody that's been an influence on me, especially there's so many of them. We had a company called Ocean Avenue. Lewis Graves, who's passed away. Lewis, Bruce Walker, Jeff Klugel, Tim Briers, Matt Keckley. The list could go on and on forever. We held down the fort for a while. I think, we put a big dent in the map. and kind of the leader in my aspect of a lot of that was a guy sitting right at that table that Hunter talked about, Greg Lohr, who in my eyes is the greatest shaper ever to walk the planet. The boards that the top pros ride today are, 18.5 inches, concave bottoms. That would have never, ever happened if it weren't for Greg Lohr. So we all should just sit back and thank Greg for his achievements in the shaping room. And I was just lucky to be there and be a part of it. Thanks, Greg. I really, I'd also like to say a little bit about our area. They probably never realized when they built that little jetty at Sebastian Inlet that it was going to influence so many lives. It influenced mine, Jeff Crawford, Mike Tabling, Greg Lohr, the generation after mine, the Hobgoods, the Lopez brothers, my generation, Matt Keckley, Jeff Klugel. I was lucky enough to get rides to the inlet with Jeff Klugel and Jackie Grayson, who were two of my biggest inspirations. I heard someone say the name Kelly. Who's Kelly? Well, okay, yeah. He's won 11 world titles, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's on tour well into his 50s. You can laugh at me, but I think that's quite possible. And it's all, the East Coast, ESA. I remember Doc Couture. I don't know, it goes way back. Surfing Cape Hatteras, we had contests at First Groin, one of the best lefts you could ever dream about. So we were very lucky in so many aspects. I heard that my friend Todd Morcom is a nominee, and I want to say, along with one of Bobby's friends, I think Mark Fu, Todd is probably one of the greatest big wave surfers I've ever seen in my life. And hopefully one day he'll be in this Hall of Fame with us also. And I have a lot of guys that came from my hometown. You guys are all out there in the audience, you know who you are. We surf together a lot. It's been a great year. We've had a lot of really good surf. I'd like to think it's been a great run, and we're still running, and we're still pumped, we're still carrying on, and the area is still producing great surfers. One of the last interviews I did with one of the magazines, I talked about Caroline Marks, and Caroline, Kelly. I mean, how the amount of talent, it's been endless. Damien. I mean, what's it like to paddle Nazare? I mean, none of us will probably ever know that question, but I mean, it's pretty unbelievable when you think about what a lot of the people from this area have done. And, Mez, Tom, Hunter, it just goes on and on. So many facets of the industry. Ross Houston that helped start the Straight Show. And, it's just like, I'm so proud to be a part of it. I'm so lucky to be born when I was born, and to have grown up surfing Sebastian Inlet with all these great people. Like I said, I really don't deserve, I think, a lot of this recognition. It's more of the guys that I hung out with and the guys that made my boards, and I was just really lucky. And Jesse, for fighting cancer, Mez, I know you're out there. We're all in the same boat together, and let's keep fighting. I'm pulling for all the people fighting cancer. And it's been a great run. Thank you all. I love you all. And God bless.